Hello, everyone. This is Mike. This is my brother Mark.
Hello.
We're going to do a video. We're going to continue on with our video, and we're going to talk a little bit about Ephraim, and we're going to start in Deuteronomy Chapter 33. It talks more about some of the symbols and emblems that Ephraim has, or also the tribe of Joseph. And some of these emblems and ensigns come from Deuteronomy 33, which is Moses speaking about what the different tribes would do. And there's some prophecies here, and we're going to start in Deuteronomy chapter 33, verse 17. And so here it says, "His glory is like the firstling of his bullock." Bullock is another way of saying like a calf or something that was used in sacrifice. And his horns are like the horns of unicorns. So that's where we get the symbol of the unicorn. "With them he shall push the people together to the ends of the earth." Push like a bull with the horns. That's how you get the symbol of the bull, or the nickname for England, which is John Bull. And you have the unicorn, which is another sign of the tribe of Ephraim. And so that's how we get some of our symbols there. So they would spread across all of the globe. Again, here's another prophecy saying that Ephraim would be spread across the globe, and they were. And another one is where we get the word, if you take the word angle, where they get Angle land or England, it comes from this word "igel." Igel means bull calf, and in the ancient Hebrew language, in British means covenant people, which is another very interesting thing. And so they were a lot of the tribe of Ephraim ended up obviously in Britain. Other areas like in was mainly, like I said, mainly in Britain, and they went to all the different four corners of the earth in the desolate heritages, which they were to inherit, which is another prophecy again. And
it goes much further back, and as far back as promises made to Abraham, as I'm going to read in Genesis 22, verse 17. "That in blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thee, thy seed as the stars of heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore. And thy seed shall possess the gates of his enemies. And in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because thou hast obeyed my voice."
yeah, there's another one I want to. Yeah, so Genesis 22, that's what you read.
Yes.
And it talks about another blessing that came forth. And they would possess the gates of their enemies. And I'll give you an example of Britain possessing the gates of the enemies. They had Gibraltar. That's the gateway into the Atlantic Ocean from the Mediterranean. And Gibraltar was owned by England. And there was other areas like the Suez Canal, the middle parts of the important parts of the Middle East, North America, having holdings in South America, ones in Asia, in Africa. They had all places everywhere.
In fact, I believe that under the British Empire was also the Panama Canal.
Yeah, so it
Places
was
like
also
that.
with America too. But
Yes.
again, it was talking about possessing the gates of the enemies.
It talked about this multiplication, being blessed and multiplied. And they became the most populous tribe, the tribe of Joseph. And but I was also saying that the earth would be blessed, and because of Abraham's seed. And that's certainly true when you look at history and revivals and things like that. Yes, tribe of Ephraim and tribe of Joseph definitely being a blessing.
And the reason why this is mostly talking about the tribe of Joseph, that he would spread and push to the ends of the earth, is because they were given the birthright from straight from Abraham to Jacob, and then to Joseph. So that's why we have Abraham, Isaac, and then Jacob, and then down to Joseph, and that's why this scripture is being fulfilled mostly through the tribe of Joseph. Not to say the other tribes didn't do that, but mainly it was more so the Ephraim and Manasseh that did that. So we're going to go to we're going to go to Isaiah 49 now and talk a little bit more about another prophecy.
Yes.
Isaiah 49.
I believe I can read in chapter 8. Thus saith the Lord, in acceptable time have I heard thee, and in a day of salvation have I helped thee. And I will preserve thee, and give thee for a covenant of the people, to establish the earth, to cause to inherit the desolate heritages, that thou mayest say to the prisoners, go forth to them that are in darkness. Show yourselves, and they shall feed in the ways, and their pastures shall be in the high places. And they shall not neither hunger nor thirst, neither shall the heat or sun smite them. For he that hath mercy on them shall lead them, even in the springs of water shall he guide them. And will make all my mountains a way, and my highways shall be exalted.
Next verse.
Yes, okay. And behold, these shall come from afar, and lo, these from the earth, and from the west, and those from the land of Sinim. Sing, O heavens, and be joyful, O earth, and break forth into singing. O mountains, for the Lord hath comforted his people, and will have mercy upon his afflicted.
All right, so in verse 5, 6, he would use this nation, this tribe, he used England to do it, to bring Jacob back again and make a nation of Israel. General Allenby and the British liberated Israel from the Ottoman Turks, and it was England who started and got this process going for the nation of Israel to be established in 1948. So we continue on, verse explaining a little bit more. That they would see kings shall arise, and princes also shall worship the Holy One of Israel, and he shall choose thee. But it talks about that a covenant of the people that he had to establish there, to cause and make a different covenant. I will have preserved thee and give thee for a covenant of the people. So that's where we get the word Brith-ish, means covenant people. So it giving sort of the identity of what this prophecy is talking more about. And the Lord chose Israel to fulfill his salvation, to bring about the salvation of the world. He used the British and the Americans. The tribe of Joseph was the main tribes that brought the gospel of Yeshua, the gospel of Jesus Christ, to the entire world. And I believe this is what it was. This is a good idea or a thought that this is where it comes from. This is what it's talking about. Again, because it makes reference to the covenant people. British means covenant people. And it continues on that he would give them and cause them to inherit the desolate heritages. And only America, if you look at England and America, those tribes truly inherited the desolate heritages, like Australia, New Zealand, and Canada, and South Africa, and they had India for a while. So, but that's not a desolate heritage, but these other ones were considered desolate heritages. So I think that's really important to know. And it talks about Sinim, and Sinim means southland, and that's obviously referring to the desolate heritages known as Australia, and also we can also include New Zealand in there. So and of course we have the northern. It talks about having the the desolate heritage to the north, which means it's Canada, which is this country right here, Canada. So, and then we have the West. We can include the Americas and South America and other holdings. And then we have stuff in the East, like I said, in like Hong Kong and other places like that. So as we can see, they possessed all desolate heritages in all corners of the earth. And so that's that prophecy there.
Of course, the desolate heritage would also include a bunch of the islands all over in places all around the world. They also have a lot of islands that they administer to also. And you probably include some of those in there too.
I'm just going to quickly go over talking about some other scriptures that I may not go over, but there's some interesting stuff in Micah 5. And I don't know if I'm just going to take a peek. I want to talk about it or not. I'll define Micah here. All right. Let's see. Micah. Okay, yeah. I'm going to look at verse 7. It said, "The remnant of Jacob shall be amongst the Gentiles in the midst of many people, as a lion among the beasts of the forest, as a young lion among the flocks of sheep. If you go through both, tread it down and tear it in pieces, and none can deliver." So this is what happened when the British and Americans and their blessing, and they were to fulfill these prophecies. No Gentile nation, no non-Israelite nation survived and were not able to defeat them. So that's why. So we had many of these powers, but they never ever were greater than England and America. So I think that's really important to know. And so I'm not saying all of the tribe of Ephraim's in England and the desolate heritages, but the majority is. And there is some tribal members of Ephraim in other countries, but primarily the tribe of Ephraim is found in Britain, England, the British Isles, and Ireland, and Cornwall, and other places like that. Also, they were found in America, in Canada, and in Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, wherever they went in the empire. So I believe I'm going to leave the tribe of Ephraim there. I think that covers most of what I was going to say. And we're going to talk about the tribe of Ephraim the tribe of Manasseh next, which is the older brother, which is actually speaks of America. We have the Confederacy flag showing that it has the crossed arms, which was the sign of Manasseh, and America has the olive tree branches, and it has the arrows. The arrows was another sign of the tribe of Joseph. And it talks about that bow. And that was in a prophecy that we read earlier with Ephraim. And so that's one of the signs of the tribe of Manasseh is this bow and that arrow. And the arrow, it has arrows in the American coat of arms. And it has 13 stars and 13 stripes originally, 13 colonies. And that's not a coincidence. And Manasseh is considered the 13th tribe. And so that's a very interesting.
In fact, that Washington Monument is actually comes from Egypt. And that was their acknowledgement that Manasseh was born in Egypt. And that they come from there. And even the pyramid and the all-seeing eye that's on some of the bills reveals that people from America knew who they were. That they were from this tribe. And most of the promises that we read about for the tribe of Joseph and for Ephraim also apply to Manasseh, for as in the multiplication, the strength, the spreading out, the and possessing other heritages. Manasseh is in the east and the west, as they were in the land, a possession. So there's a lot of blessing that came from them, and they did become a great nation. And this was fulfilled, and America continues to be a great nation. And then that's the fulfillment of that promise that was made long ago.
Okay, so I'm going to start another one to make another thing here interesting. Make this clear of why the birthright was given to Joseph. It says here, 1 Chronicles chapter 5, verse 1. And then it shows also where Judah becomes the kingly line. And it says, now the sons of Reuben, the firstborn of Israel, for he was the firstborn, but forasmuch as he defiled his father's bed, his birthright was given to the sons of Joseph, the son of Israel. And the genealogy is not to be reckoned after the birthright, for Judah prevailed above his brethren, and he became the chief ruler. But the birthright was Joseph's. And so, just wanted to read that to make that clear. And this is a clear explanation of what happened and how the sons of Joseph ended up having this birthright carried over from Abraham to Isaac to Jacob, yes, and then to Joseph, and then to his sons.
However, the crown and the leadership for the tribe of Joseph was given to Ephraim, not Manasseh. In the most part, that would be what
correct.
We can see here.
As we can see, Manasseh means to forget. A lot of times we see Reuben as being close to, I should say, a lot of times we see Manasseh being close to Reuben in sometimes. And you can see that the French had a lot of help. They helped America become its own nation. And we have Manasseh. If you remember the map, Manasseh had actually the most land given to it. It had West Manasseh, west of the Jordan River, and we had East Manasseh, which is called Gilead, which is east of the River Jordan. So they had a lot of land was given to the tribe of Manasseh. And I also want to talk about a very interesting thing about the 7 times punishment in Leviticus chapter 26. This was a punishment that if they had rebelled against God, that they would be punished 7 times. And if you do the math from when Ephraim and Manasseh were taken out of the land, if Ephraim, you use Ephraim, you start with 721 BC, you add 2520 around that time, you will come around the year 1800 AD, which is actually the Union of Jacob, when it became the UK, when England united with Scotland and Ireland and Northern Ireland and Wales, also. They became the United Kingdom in 1800. Yeah. And that's interesting. It's called the Union of Jacob or the Union Jack. That's why you have that flag. It had all the other different kingdoms put in that flag. That's why they call it the Union of Jacob. And it has the cross part. That came from Scotland. And that's a sign of the tribe of Manasseh. And that's where you can see it even in the Union Jack, the flag of the United Kingdom. In fact,
it also reveals the time when America became a nation also.
Yes. So you add the 7 times punishment, 742 BC. You add 2,520 years, because a day is a year. We get around 1776 to 1781 AD. And 1776 to 1781 AD was when America became an independent nation. And so that's very, very, very interesting. And so I'm going to leave it there for now. And we're going to continue to talk about the tribe of Manasseh next. All right. God bless everyone.
God bless.